Welcome back to the Gigi Report, and thank you for tuning in. And we are continuing with the conversation on unpacking the BBI report. And my guest Vincent here has a lot of interesting insights. And so Vincent, I want us to look at the pros and the cons. I know we have looked at the preferences, especially the political, the leadership elements, where clearly what the main conversation is about the top leadership. There has been a lot of talk about that. And it's a preference issue. That's what we said before we went to the break, that it's really not, we can't, it can't break any bone whichever way we go. But now the BBI itself as a constitutional amendment framework means that if it's passed, it's going to have very serious repercussions and implications because it's a constitutional amending document. So what are the pros and cons of that are embedded in this report?
You know, I want to repeat this, that in 2010, we went to the election, we went to a referendum.
Yes.
And we had one side that was saying yes.
Yes.
In Swahili, they were saying, you would say, Bora Katiba. And then there was one group that was saying no, it says Katiba Bora. And when you listened, you had a 67, 68 to 68, 30 something percent saying yes and no.
Okay.
Now that group that said no were raising
30 something, 32%.
Their concerns were dogmatic in terms of they were based on their beliefs and their conviction.
Exactly.
I was asking one of them about, for example, their opposition to a constitution on the issue of why are you saying no to this great constitution that has very good provision on governance, devolution? And he said, you know, for me, on matters of principle, even if when I am faced with a decision of principal issues and preference, like I vote, it says I vote no because of the provision on 26(4) that provides, for example, that says abortion is not permitted and opens door, for example, when the mother's life is in danger or in any written law in the opinion of a medical profession. So it says that for me, I cannot be able to approve such a document because for me, the abortion, which means willful termination of life, when as a Christian, who is a pro-lifer, who believes in life, it does not matter how good these others, if on a principle issue,
on a matter of principle. Yes.
So I am giving that example because Gigi, the BBI report, when you read the entire of it, it does not raise major moral or dogmatic issues that I would advise anyone who is, for example, I told some church leaders that it is not a document that you can be able to take a very strong, firm, principle position.
Yes.
It is mainly a document that has a lot of preferential issues. Now, why am I saying this? Is that so that when we are doing the analysis, we look at it from the prism of preferential issues.
Yes.
Because the proposals that the church provided to the BBI task force, particularly on their 2010 issues, were all ignored.
So meaning
they did not want to get into a situation whereby moral issues are part of the conversation. So
I guess it's like making the tablet, sweetening the medicine, so that it's easier to swallow.
So for me, one of the things that I would be able to say that let us look at BBI from a preferential point of view, so that when we are rejecting, it is not that you're rejecting it from a premise of principle, but you are, or accepting it, you are pushing it from a framework of preference. Now, having said that, is that the provisions, for example, on devolution, in terms of increasing the amount of money allocated to devolution from the current floor of 15% to 35%, for me, is a good proposal.
So that's among the many wonderful, provisions.
The proposal on the expanding the executive and facilitating the opposition, for me, it is a good proposal. The proposal for me on a national framework
Yes.
particularly on ethics to do with patriotism, values. For me, he's a good proposal.
That's good.
The proposal on how do we ensure that we accelerate, for example, issues like regional integration. You know, we build this economy and we broaden. For me, are very fantastic proposals.
Yes.
However, we also have bad proposals from BBI.
Yes.
And I would say the number one proposal that needs to be rethought is the proposal on establishing the National Police Council, whereby we are disbanding the current National Police Service and establishing a National Police Council that will be chaired by the current by the cabinet secretary or the minister responsible for internal security.
Yes.
Now, when we have looked at the past, the way the police have been abused, remember we are recommending that the ministers or the minister will be coming from the National Assembly. So most likely the person who will be heading the Ministry for Interior will be somebody who is a politician. So that for me provides an opportunity.
Actually, while you're on that, while you're on that point, I think it's good for our viewers to know that security issues are critical. You know, for the proper function of a society. And so when we actually make security, or rather we a very critical part of the public policing, because really police service is really to serve people at the ground
and to protect.
If somebody bangs your window, at night, in the middle of the night, you want to be sure that if you called up the local police station, that these guys can respond. And so you don't want that in the hands of some bureaucrat. And though I have a lot of respect for bureaucratic systems, because they make things function anyway, but there's a challenge, there's a limit, because once you bring in the police force under the hands of a politically beholden bureaucrat, you're actually going to weaken the system.
And that's why, Pastor Gigi, and for me, remember when we were doing the constitution in the past, the things we said, we were trying to cure the mischief where police have been misused to achieve political ends. So for me, that is one thing. Number two is the proposal to overhaul IEBC. I believe strongly. Remember, I told you that I had even applied and put my name forward to be a possible commissioner.
Exactly.
And be able to say, ladies and gentlemen, that this is an arbitrator of facilitating the will of the people to be able to be manifested through an election. So you want a referee. You know, after the nullification of the presidential election in 2017, you remember one thing that happened is that people felt, I can actually go to the judiciary, and if I make my case clearly, they are able to, I will be heard. The question is, now there is a recommendation that we want to have 4 commissioners being recommended by political parties. Not even all the parties, only parties that are in parliament. Remember, we have many political parties. So when you say that only certain parties are the ones to recommend commissioners, 4 of them out of the 7, what happens if the 2 of them disagree? Because I can tell you for a fact, currently, the political formation, Jubilee and the NASA formation, highly likely, if you to make those 2 recommendations, you will have 2 people who are from one side of Jubilee who are Uhuru compliant. And then on the other side, you will have 2 people who are Raila compliant. Now, the truth of the matter is that what happens in the event there is a gridlock, like in 2007?
Actually, by the way, it really creates a very frightening scenario, because I think the current peace we have right now is premised on the idea that the IEBC was able to carry out some form of an election.
They did a good election.
Which, as far as Mwanichi is concerned, I think it is okay.
I told you.
Because you see, the minute you cast doubt in the validity of an election, I think you really put the...
we are recording this show at the time where the US has gone to an election.
Exactly.
Me and you, I can tell you, based from where I sit, I agree with Donald Trump on one thing. In terms of the orthodoxy, in terms of the agenda of the Republican Party, the conservative agenda. On that, I'm on his side. I have a challenge in terms of the policies of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
But when you look at these two candidates in the way they have expressed themselves after the elections, one thing, I'm not with Donald Trump because he has cast aspersions on actually the credibility and the integrity of the elections. So what has happened?
Yeah.
The country that has been pushing and talking to us and dictating us about democracy, today they have fallen under their own sword. So one of the things I want to say is that let us be careful.
There are very serious lessons to be learned.
Yes,
I think from what is going on, what has gone on in the U.S. elections, that elections can become a platform, can be a theater of discord and defranchising a nation, even though we really want a democratic system that works. So we have to be, what you're saying is that we have to be very careful. I want you to expound a little bit on the IBC and the mechanisms.
I said, so I talked about the 4 commissioners.
Yes.
Then we are talking about vetting the entire staff of IBC,
yes,
giving them a contract of 3 years, renewable ones. Tell me something. You are conducting an election as a staff.
Yeah.
You are a presiding officer in a station. You have 1 year to go.
By the way, actually, each county has
the county returning officer.
Yes.
And then you have the constituency coordinator. The question is, why this is somebody who is susceptible. He only has a few months.
Yes.
In terms of manipulation, if politicians manipulate such people in terms of when they don't have security of contract and security of tenure. So for me, one of the things that I would say that, and I have even pointed out, is that this one is an idea that has to be rejected, because we have only, in fact, even for me, I don't know why the BBI, they singled out only IBC.
Yes.
Tell me the truth of the Chapter 15 commissioners.
Yes.
There is the Gender Commission, the Human Rights Commission, Parliamentary Service Commission. The other commission they only talked about is the SRC, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and their only recommendation, reduce their commissioners from the current 12 put to 7, which is a good proposal.
Yeah.
But the IBC has a far-reaching recommendation, telling you very well that, you remember our analysis of policy, process, power, and politics?
Yes.
That the political interest is really in the electoral process, and no one should lie to us that BBI has no bearing for 2022. Because if you want to test their integrity, can we operationalize these proposals in 2027? What is going to happen? The heat that is on IBC is likely to go down.
Exactly.
So for me, the other recommendation that I would also want to say that needs to be rethought is the proposals to move the 37 women representatives from the National Assembly to the Senate. So where you have, we will have 1 man, 1 woman in the Senate.
Yes.
Now, yet the Senate, in terms of their legislative mandate on critical issues, has a limited mandate.
Yes.
The other challenge is, at the moment, we have proposed that members of the cabinet, that is the cabinet secretaries, will be coming from the National Assembly. So in terms of women's participation, even in the cabinet, you've moved them from the National Assembly all the way to the Senate, and you've made National Assembly to be the place where cabinet secretaries will be coming from. There will be a challenge in terms of level of participation.
Yes.
The other limitation,
the same problem you're trying to solve, because I think this gender, the gender equality, debate, it's a needless debate. And so we are saying, while the intentions are good, but here you're moving the women, the 47 women in Parliament, moving them to the Senate. And then, and Parliament itself is populated through popular vote.
Yes.
So either the women win the seats and get to Parliament,
you see, the
or you nominate
47 women rep was giving us a framework and a formula on how we will achieve the 2/3.
Exactly.
Currently, there is no framework under BBI, apart from the 70 seats that will be for nominations to the National Assembly. There is no framework that tells us how we will still achieve the 2/3 for the National Assembly. So we are curing it we cure it in the Senate, but we are not not very clear about how we will cure it in the National Assembly.
I guess maybe through the 47, the 70.
You see, you know what happens?
Nominations.
You need to be explicit.
Yes.
Because we have an advisory from the CJ telling the president to dissolve Parliament because Parliament is not fully constituted and it has not met the 2/3 gender principle.
Exactly.
So how can you therefore through a document like BBI not be very clear on how you will achieve the 2/3 when it comes to the National Assembly?
Because
they've also gone further to also make to change that. Because currently, I think Article 175 of the Constitution provides a clear framework on how to meet the 2/3 gender principle when it comes to the county assemblies.
Yes.
That has also been removed. So for me, I would want to say this: we still are able. If BBI passes as it is, there will be oxygen the following day. We will still be able to breathe. But you know, I said when we are giving a conversation on preferential issues, let them be well thought out. Let them take us from one side of the Jordan to cross us to the Canaan, rather than taking us to the mid of Jordan and saying the bridge we need to remain standing here. We have to send other people to get us more planks so that we can cross to the other side. What I'm trying to say is that may the journey towards BBI be completely help us to really build bridges that will get us to Canaan, rather than getting us to the midst of the river, and we have to wait because we do not know when the rain.
We build half of the bridge.
Are you saying?
You know, we build half of the bridge. We have a referendum that builds half of the bridge. The other half of the river, we say we'll see how to.
There is a bridge in, and I think I'll send you that picture. There is a bridge. It's called the Bridge to Nowhere. There is a bridge in South America.
Yes.
I think it was done and funded by the World Bank.
Yes.
And the bridge today is a monument
because the river shifted.
The river shifted now. So it is
you know, viewers, as you can tell, the Gigi report, Vincent is really on fire here, and you know, talking about bridges and rivers shifting. And we know there have been talks in the past in our political conversations where somebody wanted a river to move because the property he had built, which was actually which as far as the environmentalists were concerned, it was actually outside the provisions. It was in a riparian sort of land, and the guy suggested that the river needed to move, not the building. So that's what. So building bridges could be a very difficult task if the river actually moves after the bridge has been done. So we are seeing, we are really like saying that it is not a very easy walk.
And that is why you see the reason why I congratulate you for such kind of platforms is that we are able to break down to many constituents.
Yes.
You know, the other thing I also want to say about BBI is that the level of awareness about the proposals in BBI is very low.
Yes,
I was asking people
civic education. Civic education. I know we keep talking about it, and I think I talked to someone who said the other day that it is one thing for people to gather in bombers and speak to the nation through cameras, but it's another thing, or even make their voice heard within that platform. It's very, very difficult actually to get mwananchi on the ground to understand what's going on.
I recently came from a place called Kimorere in Kerio Valley.
Yes.
And I'd gone there to gather some data.
Yes.
The data I wanted was data for on the issue of extractives industry.
Yes.
And I want to tell you that when you hear this term, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti.
Yes.
That is the truth. Vitu kwa ground inakwanga tofauti. I'll say this, Pastor Gigi.
Yeah.
You know, currently there is another narrative that we have in the country, and I want to compare it to the 2007. Yeah. The 2007 was the 2005. the we versus them.
Yes.
42 against 1. 42 tribes against the Kikuyu community. 2007, 2005.
Yeah.
Currently, there is a new narrative in town.
Yeah.
The narrative is the hustler versus the dynasties.
Yes.
And from the way you look like, you, Gigi, you belong to the dynasties.
No. That's a debate we'll have in our next round.
Allow me to say this.
Yes.
And I'm happy. I just want to say
yes.
that when you already have the elements
mm-hmm.
that precipitated the crisis we had in 2007.
Yes.
Look at we have a referendum we are discussing.
Yes.
We had a referendum in 2005.
Yes.
The we versus them at that time was at the tribal level.
Yes.
The we versus them currently is the hustler versus.
It's a class.
Are you getting the point?
So when you already, class issue.
When you already have the ingredients.
Yes.
That may precipitate a crisis.
Yes.
You remember that those who do not look back are hell-bent to do what? To repeat their mistakes. I have to say this because I don't know when we will meet next.
Yes.
When the point is that you are not weaker, Pastor Gigi, by listening to a better alternative or a better idea from somebody else.
Yes.
If today I come here and I tell you, Pastor Gigi, you've been doing a fantastic job through the Gigi report.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think if we change one or two things that can make this program to be aired internationally.
Yes.
You know, do you still have the Gigi report? Yes. Are you still the host? Yes. The point is, what's the difference? I have bettered the situation. For me, this is my recommendation that we need to educate our people. We need to consult further to be able to arrive at better ideas. Because principally, currently, even when you listen to what the pastoralists are saying, what the church groups are saying, you realize all of them are saying, hey guys.
Actually, by the way, that's what I want you to comment on. So because this BBI has been a shifting issue. So there are a couple of very critical, you'd call stakeholders that have already spoken into the BBI.
Yes.
And we had input from the pastoralists, the church has spoken, and
we also have women groups that have spoken.
Women groups.
So groups,
just highlight for us, what are they saying?
The church groups, if you summarize the report of the Catholics and CCK and the Evangelicals and the Pentecostals,
the Kenya Christian Council,
the Kenya Council of Christian Alliances and Ministries, what they are saying is that, hey, the way this thing is being rushed, what is the hurry if we are building bridges?
Yes,
we are that this process is moving very fast. And we have built other bridges, but in the process destroyed others.
Yes.
And yet if we are to live by the spirit of building bridges initiative, let us build consensus on the issues. The church is also saying, let us isolate the issues. Those that are constitutional, those are the policy, those are legislative and administrative. Let us separate them and face them in different frontiers and apportion different responsibilities to different people. The other thing the pastoralists are saying is that, how comes we have a commission for youth, we have authorities on crops. There is nothing about the issue of pastoralists of the livestock marketing and promotion authority. They're also talking about that extending the equalization fund. You remember the equalization fund that was meant to be implemented for 20 years to bring the northern part of our country and the northern frontier to the same level of development as the other parts. They're saying extend that. They're also talking about that we are concerned about the formation of the Health Services Commission that the doctors talked about that, and people in the medical fraternity said, experience of the last 10 years is that the management of the human resource function in the health sector has not been to par. So what we want to do is that can we centralize the way we have Teacher Service Commission, the way we have Judicial Service Commission, by having Health Services Commission? Now, the people in the pastoralist communities and the Northern Frontier are saying that we are concerned that this for us is a clawback on devolution. Now, the governors, that is headed by Oparanya, they've also made their recommendations. They are concerned about the requirement that if you want to run for governor, your running mate should be of the opposite gender.
Yes.
So they're saying, how comes you're requiring us to appoint of the opposite gender,
Yeah.
but the president, remember these 5 positions and the 7th position up here, you're not requiring.
Yes.
The summary of all these concerns boils to one thing.
Yes.
The need for longer session for consultation.
Yes.
There is an agreement that any opportunity to improve on the document, please let us improve. And then they are also pointing out, please let us leave no one behind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and I know we are running out of time.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is that clearly, if we want to avoid the mistakes we've made in the past, that we must take BBI, the initiative itself, very, very seriously. And one of the things I want you to summarize as we bring this to an end is the scenarios that you see unfolding. I know we may not have enough time to dig into the matters, but you mentioned to me of the set about scenarios. That scenarios that you see.
It's called narrative framing.
Yeah, narrative framing. Just mention them in brief. Then maybe.
So if we move together, if we get what we are talking about, even mentioned by Bishop Oginde during the launch of the second report.
Yes.
Was that we can have a Jerusalem scenario. Jerusalem scenario or a narrative where really consensus is achieved, we move together,
we dance together,
and we build all the bridges together, and we celebrate and we emerge as a united team together. That is the Jerusalem.
Yeah.
The other narrative or the scenario is the issue of Uhasama.
Yes.
Uhasama brought by like the 2017, where truly you move this thing, but after the referendum, we have like the election of 2017. You have gone to an election, but the country is not settled.
Yeah.
There is a lot of animosity
creates
around.
a lot of political, toxic political environment.
The other case is the 2017 case. 2007 case is where you have an entire utengano, where you go into this referendum and you have this win, you have this side feeling we have lost. And you know that siege mentality, like currently the constituency represented by the deputy president, if that constituency feels maligned and disenfranchised, what happens? They will sharpen their weapons to be ready for war come 2022.
Yes.
And that might actually divide the country further. So to the president, do you want, Jerusalem or Uyano, then you have the Uhasama, you have the Utengano,
yes,
and then you have the Tetezi in terms of they are known.
Yes.
Currently, we have a COVID-19 scenario.
Yes.
You know, this thing might escalate to a place where no one has control over it.
Absolutely.
So with those kind of examples, why are we shaping them?
Yes.
Is to actually lift the conversation to the next level, so that people realize that it is not about my side winning and your side losing.
Yes.
It is how does Kenya win?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vincent. I believe that you've really laid out the territory clearly, and we've been able to expound on this conversation. The BBI presents an opportunity for Kenyans of goodwill to re-examine our political, scenario. And like the government, I think I like what one prophetic person said, that the Kenyan dress is multicolored, and it's got so many patches here and there, and it's time for us to renew this government, and create a better environment. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying on this program and listening to today's show. I believe that we've been able to unpack the BBI, and we look forward to being able to come to you again and bring in all other issues. And thank you so much, Vincent, for being on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to acknowledge our hosts, After 40 Hotel, located in the CBD of Nairobi, very conveniently located right in the city of Nairobi, and wonderful place, very good atmosphere. And this is a place that you can enjoy calm and quiet environment and hostel facilities. And so we're very, very grateful for them giving us opportunity to host this show here. And so thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you next time. God bless.